It started on a day I'd been looking forward to for weeks, our wedding rehearsal. I remember the feeling in my chest, nerves bouncing around like a pinball machine, the scent of fresh flowers in the air, and the soft murmur of people talking as they gathered around. My fiancée, Lisa, looked stunning, her dress shimmering under the dim lights, her smile bright and full of hope. I was supposed to feel invincible, like nothing could go wrong. But everything shifted in an instant. We were in the middle of practicing the vows when I saw him. Mark, my best man, standing just a few feet away, leaning in a little too close to Lisa. His hand was resting on her waist, and I swear I saw her laugh, that little too loud laugh that didn't quite sit right with me. I froze, my stomach twisting. My eyes locked on them, and suddenly the world turned quiet. I could see every detail, the way Lisa's fingers grazed Mark's arm, the way her eyes flickered just a second too long when she looked at him. My chest grew tight, like a fist was squeezing my heart. I told myself it was a mistake, that maybe I was just seeing things. But then Mark pulled her in for a quick, unmistakable kiss on the cheek, and my blood ran cold. That moment replayed in my mind over and over. I didn't need to see more. The evidence was right there in front of me. I remembered the faint smell of his aftershave lingering in the air, the faint flush on Lisa's cheeks. I didn't want to believe it, but I knew. She had been unfaithful, right in front of everyone during our rehearsal. I confronted her later that night, voice shaking but trying to sound calm. I needed her to own it. "Lisa, I saw you with Mark. You kissed him. Was it just a mistake?" My voice cracked on the last word, and I felt my palms sweat. She looked at me, eyes wide but somehow pleading. "It was one mistake," she whispered, her voice trembling. "I swear I didn't mean for it to happen. It was stupid. I was drunk. I was overwhelmed, but I love you. I'm sorry. Sorry." That word felt like a punch to the gut. Sorry didn't undo what I saw. Sorry didn't erase the image of her. Lips pressed against his face. Sorry wouldn't fix what was broken inside me, and I knew it. Still, I wanted to believe her. I wanted to believe it was a one-time thing, a slip-up. But deep down, I knew better. I couldn't sleep that night. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw her with Mark. The way her hair caught the dim light, the way her shoulders shrugged as she tried to hide her guilt. I felt a coldness creep into my chest, a slow, creeping realization that my life was about to change forever. The next morning, I started asking myself questions I didn't want to face. How many other times had she lied? Was this just the tip of the iceberg? Could I really forgive her, or was this the beginning of the end? The betrayal was fresh, raw, a wound I didn't know how to heal from. But I also knew I couldn't let this slide. Not without getting some payback. Not without making her understand the damage she'd done. I had no idea what I was going to do yet. All I knew was that this wasn't going to be swept under the rug. I was going to be some cuckold pretending everything was fine. That day marked the start of something, a plan that would change everything. I could feel it. The anger simmered in my gut, and I was beginning to see my next move. It was going to be slow, calculated, and no matter what, she was going to regret it. Even if she swore it was just one mistake, I was already planning how to make sure she paid for it. I had to, for my dignity, for my future. I needed her to see I wasn't a fool. Not anymore. "Do you want me to go on?" That night after she went to bed, I sat in the dark, replaying everything I'd seen. My mind was racing, fists clenched so tight my knuckles ached. I kept thinking about her lie. It was just one mistake, like that made everything okay. "Sorry," she said. Sorry didn't cut it. Sorry didn't erase the image of her pressed against Mark, her lips whispering secrets I wasn't meant to hear. I needed to do something, but I didn't want to rush. I wanted to think it through, plan my next move carefully. I had to be smart. If I was going to make her regret this, I had to know exactly what I was doing. So I started gathering evidence. First, I went through her phone. It wasn't hard. I knew her password. I found the messages, the photos she'd sent Mark when she thought no one was looking. Flirty, provocative stuff I'd never seen before. The kind of things that made my stomach churn. I copied everything onto a flash drive. Then I looked around the house for more clues. I found her keys. Not just her house key, but her car keys and her old phone she'd been hiding in a drawer. I pocketed those too. Just small things, but enough to start piecing together what she'd been hiding. I knew I couldn't confront her yet. I had to be patient, bide my time. Over the next few days, I kept my distance. It was hard. Every time I saw her, my stomach clenched. I could feel the heat of my anger radiating just beneath my skin. I noticed the small things she did, how she'd avoid my gaze, how she'd quickly change the subject if I asked about her day. The way her voice would crack when she caught my eye. One evening I decided I needed to see her in her own words. I sat her down, calm but firm. "Lisa, I saw you with Mark. I have evidence. Don't lie to me now. Tell me what happened." She looked like she was about to cry. "It was a mistake," she repeated, voice trembling. "It didn't mean anything. I was drunk, overwhelmed. It was a moment of stupidity, and I swear I've never loved anyone like I love you. Please just forgive me." I shook my head. "A mistake? That's all you have to say? You think I'll buy that? I saw the pictures, the messages. You kissed him. Did you think I wouldn't find out? How could you do this during our rehearsal, right in front of everyone?" She looked down, tears spilling down her cheeks. "I was scared. I didn't mean for it to happen. I was stupid and I regret it. I swear it was just one time." That's when I knew I had to act. I wasn't built for this sort of pain, this betrayal. I needed to get ahead of her, a step ahead. I had to be the one calling the shots now. She kept begging, but I didn't listen much. Instead, I told her I'd make a decision soon. Part of me felt like throwing her out right then and there, but I knew I needed a better plan, something to make her pay, something that would hit her where it hurt, the trust, the respect, the dignity she'd shattered. I started drafting my revenge. Not a childish tantrum, but something calculated. I'd make her see she'd lost her best chance with me. The plan would take time, patience, and careful execution. But I wasn't going to let her get away with this, not without consequences. That night I lay awake, the evidence burning a hole in my pocket. My heart was pounding a little faster. I was trembling with a mix of rage and relief. Relief that I finally knew the truth, rage that I'd been so blind. I knew I had everything I needed now. The game was on, and she was about to find out that betrayal had consequences, big ones. Would you like me to continue? The next few days were a blur of planning and quiet observation. I didn't want to blow everything up immediately. No, I needed a slow burn, a way to hit her where it mattered most. I kept her close, well, close enough to keep tabs, but I was careful not to let her see my hand. Inside, I was boiling. Every time she brushed past me, I felt the weight of her lies pressing down on my chest. I decided to start with the little things, set the stage, test her reactions. I swapped her phone with the old one I'd stolen, the one she'd been hiding. I'd already backed up all her messages, photos, everything. It was a ticking bomb, and I kept it with me just in case. The plan was to use her own words against her, to make her see what she'd done from her own screen. One evening, I invited her to sit with me in the living room. She looked nervous, avoiding my eyes, but I kept my voice calm. "Lisa, I've seen enough to know this was more than just a mistake. I need you to understand. I'm not going to forget, and I'm not going to forgive so easily." I paused, watching her swallow hard. "You crossed a line, and I plan to remind you of that." She looked at me, tears pooling again, trembling lips. "Please don't do anything stupid. I love you. I made a stupid mistake, but I want to fix this if you'll let me." I shook my head slowly. "It's not just about fixing it. It's about making sure you never do this again. You want forgiveness. You'll earn it. Because trust, Lisa, trust is a fragile thing, and you just shattered it." That's when I revealed the first move. I handed her her phone, an old, untraceable device I'd bought in secret. "Here, use this. No more hiding, no more lies. Let's see how honest you can be." She looked at it hesitant, but took it, clutching it like a life raft. Over the next day, I watched her try to hide her usual routines. I was careful to appear normal, but inside I was working my plan. I had already set up a fake email, a new social media account, and I started subtly messaging her. Not threatening, just casual, enough to keep her on her toes. Meanwhile, I kept the evidence close. I had her old phone, filled with messages and photos, stored on a secure drive. I wasn't ready to confront her with everything yet, but I knew I'd need to soon. The pieces were falling into place. One night I sat her down again, this time with more directness. "Lisa, I want you to think about what you really want. Do you want to keep pretending everything's okay, or do you want to fix this? Because I'm tired of playing games. I've got your messages, your pictures. I could ruin you with one click, but I'm not into revenge for revenge's sake. I want you to understand, you can't keep lying and expect everything to be fine. She looked at me, eyes wide with guilt. I swear I'll do anything, she whispered. Just don't leave me, I love you. I took a deep breath, feeling the cold steel of my resolve. We're going to see how much you really want this marriage, because if you want to stay, you're going to have to earn it, starting now. That was the turning point. I'd laid the groundwork. The slow, steady storm was brewing. I knew the next step would be more aggressive, something that would make her truly regret her choices. But for now, I watched her squirm, feeling the tight grip of my plan tighten around her. She didn't know I had her secrets, and I planned to keep it that way for a little longer. But I could already feel the rush of satisfaction building inside me. The revenge, I realized, was about more than just punishing her. It was about reclaiming my dignity. Would you like me to continue? A few days passed, and I kept everything under tight control. I acted normal in front of her, but inside I was calculating. I knew the moment to strike was approaching. I'd collected all her messages, her hidden photos, everything stored safely on my drive. I had her old phone, her new fake account, and a plan that would hit her where it hurt without crossing any lines I didn't want to cross. One evening, I decided it was time for the confrontation. She was in the kitchen, chopping vegetables, her hands trembling slightly. I could see the anxiety in her eyes, but she tried to act unaffected. I sat down at the table, calm but with a quiet intensity that made her pause mid-slice. "Lisa," I said softly, but firmly, "you've been playing a dangerous game. I've seen enough. I have your messages, your photos. You think you can hide this forever." She froze, her hand midair with the knife. Her eyes darted around, searching for an escape. "Please," she begged, voice cracking, "don't do this. I swear it was a mistake. I love you." I shook my head slowly, feeling the steel resolve inside me. "Love? You think a mistake like that can be brushed aside? You kissed him in front of everyone, Lisa, during our rehearsal. Do you have any idea what that makes me feel like?" Her face contorted, tears streaming down her cheeks. "I didn't mean for it to happen. I was drunk, overwhelmed. Just one stupid moment. Please, don't ruin everything over this." I pushed the flash drive across the table. "You see, I've got everything, every message, every photo. It's all here. You can tell me to forget it, pretend it didn't happen. But I know the truth now. You're not the woman I thought I married." She looked like she wanted to crawl out of her skin. "You're going to destroy me," she whispered. I leaned forward, voice cold. "No, Lisa, I'm just making sure you understand that you lost my trust, and I don't plan to forgive so easily, not after this." I paused. "You're going to have to earn my forgiveness if I even give it to you." She sobbed softly, falling to her knees. "Please, I will do anything, just don't leave me, please." That's when I revealed the next step. "I have a little surprise for you," I said, pulling out a small box. Inside was a burner phone, one I'd bought and set up out of her sight. "From now on, you'll use this to contact Mark or anyone else. No more hiding, no more lies. We'll see how honest you can be when you know I'm watching." Her eyes widened as she looked at it, trembling. "You're serious?" "Very," I replied. "And if I find you hiding anything else, or if I catch you lying again, the consequences will be much worse." Over the next days, I kept her on a very short leash. I'd check her messages when she wasn't looking. I'd listen for any suspicious sounds. Every time she touched her phone, I felt my stomach tighten, waiting for her to slip, but she was good, too good. She managed to hide her tracks, at least for now. Meanwhile, I was preparing. I'd sent a message from her new burner to Mark, a simple, cold statement. "We need to talk, nothing more." I wanted him to know I was onto him, that I was aware of everything. That was my way of sending a message back, to remind him I wasn't helpless. One night I sat her down again, my patience wearing thin. I stared directly into her eyes. "Lisa, I'm not playing anymore. You can keep lying, keep hiding, but I swear when I do this you'll wish you never crossed me." She looked defeated, tears streaming down her face. "Please, I love you," she whispered. "Give me a chance to fix this. I'll do whatever it takes." I took a deep breath, feeling the weight of my decision. "You want a chance, fine, but from now on you're under surveillance. No more secrets, no more hiding. If I catch you lying again, if I find out you've been sneaking around, I'll make sure you regret it." I handed her the burner phone. "Start using this, don't betray me again." She nodded meekly, knowing she was caught but desperate to hold on. I felt a strange mix of satisfaction and anger. She thought she could just say sorry and everything would go back to normal, but I knew better. This was just the beginning. The pieces were in place. The game was on, and I was ready to see her squirm, because betrayal like this, it demanded a price. And I was the one about to collect. Would you like me to continue? Following days felt like walking on a razor's edge. I kept her under watch, not with overt suspicion, but with a calculated calm that left her uneasy. Every time she touched her phone, I was there, pretending to be engrossed in something else. Inside, I was calculating every move, every word, every hesitation. She was trying to act normal, but I saw the cracks, how she avoided my gaze, how her hands trembled when she thought I wasn't looking. One evening, I decided it was time to escalate. I had been monitoring her burner, and her messages with Mark had been sparse but telling. She still insisted it was a one-time mistake, but I knew better. I'd already prepared my next move, one that would bring everything crashing down on her. I sat her down in the living room, the faint glow of the lamp casting shadows on her face. I didn't bother with pleasantries now. I laid the evidence out on the table, screenshots of her messages, the photos she'd taken, even her own words from her hidden account. Her face drained of color. "Lisa," I said, voice cold and steady, "I've got everything. All your secrets, all your lies. You told me it was just a mistake, right?" She looked like she was about to break, tears pooling again. "Please, I didn't mean for it to happen. It was a stupid mistake, but I do love you. I want to fix this." I shook my head slowly. "No, you don't, not really. You think you can just say sorry and everything's forgiven. You think I'm going to forget what I saw, that kiss, Lisa, that moment during our rehearsal. You think that's just a mistake. No. That's a betrayal of everything we built." Her hands clenched into fists, trembling. "I swear. I'll make it right. I'll do whatever it takes." That's when I reached into my pocket and pulled out a small envelope. Inside was a letter, written carefully, my voice in my head guiding every word. I read it aloud, slow and deliberate. "Since you seem so eager to fix things, I thought I'd give you a choice. You can come clean and admit everything, your feelings for Mark, your lies, everything. Or I can make sure every single person you know finds out what you've done. Your friends, your family, even your coworkers, because I have enough to make your life a living hell if I want to. But I'm not interested in destroying you just yet. I want to see if you're serious about fixing this. Because trust me, Lisa, I'm ready to burn your whole world down if that's what it takes." Her eyes widened. "You wouldn't." "I already am," I said. "Starting now, you're going to tell the truth. No more hiding, no more lies, or I'll do it for you." Her face crumpled and she nodded, voice barely a whisper. "I'll tell everyone, I swear. Just don't ruin my life." I slid the envelope toward her. "Good, because I want to see you try to fix this. But remember, once they know, it's not just about forgiving. It's about whether I can ever trust you again." That night, I watched her make the first painful step. She sat in front of her phone, trembling, and started typing. I didn't need to hear what she was saying. I just needed to see her finally be honest, even if it was forced. I was close to breaking her spirit, but I also felt a strange sense of relief. Seeing her under pressure, knowing that everything she tried to hide was exposed, even if only partially, brought a strange calm over me. I knew this was just the beginning of the fallout, but I was ready. And I was determined she'd regret every second of it. "Would you like me to continue?" The next morning, I knew everything had changed. She spent the night drafting her confession, and I could see the exhaustion and defeat in her eyes when she finally handed me her phone. Her hands trembled when she pressed it into mine, and I saw the silent plea, apologies, regrets, a desperate attempt to hold on. But I wasn't interested in forgiveness anymore. I'd already decided what to do. I took a deep breath, feeling the weight of the moment settle over me. This was it. The culmination of all my plans, all my patience, all my simmering rage. I opened the email I had drafted the night before, the one I was about to send to everyone she knew. Her friends, her family, her boss, the world that could tear her apart. I wanted her to see that once I hit send, her life would never be the same. I looked her straight in the eye. "This is your last chance, Lisa. You want to fix this. You tell the truth now to everyone. You own what you did, or I do it for you." She hesitated, then finally nodded, voice barely above a whisper. "I'll tell them everything." I pressed send and watched her break apart. Her hands shook as she started dialing, voice cracking as she began to confess her betrayal to her mother, her best friend, even her boss. I stayed quiet, letting her take the first step. She'd have to face the consequences of her choices. And I knew once she did, there was no turning back. The fallout was as swift as I expected. The calls, the texts, the face-to-face confrontations. Her reputation shattered faster than I could have imagined. Friends turned distant, her family disappointed and angry, her employer questioning her integrity. I stayed in the background, no longer part of her chaos, just an observer. I'd already won. The final act came a few days later. I handed her back the keys to her car and her apartment. I told her this is over. I watched her try to hold back tears, seeing her realize she lost everything, her marriage, her dignity, her control. She begged, pleaded, but I was done listening. I calmly handed her a folded letter. "Read this," I said quietly. "It's my goodbye." She opened it, reading the words I'd carefully written. "You betrayed me and I let you. You broke my trust and I won't try to piece it back together. I hope you understand what you've done because I sure as hell won't forget. I'm walking away and I'm never coming back. You had your chance. Now I'm reclaiming my life." I handed her the keys. "Take what's yours, just don't come looking for me again." She looked at me, eyes swollen and red. "You're throwing everything away." "No," I said. "I'm saving myself. You lost me the day you kissed Mark during our rehearsal. That was the moment I knew I'd never trust you again. I just made sure you'd remember it forever." I turned and walked out, feeling the cold wind hit my face. It was finally over. My stomach was tight with the sting of betrayal, but underneath I felt a strange sense of relief, closure maybe. Karma had done its job. She made her choice, and now she was paying the price. As I drove away, I realized something that stuck with me hard. Betrayal cuts deep, but sometimes the only way to heal is to cut out the infection altogether. Trust is fragile, and once broken, it's near impossible to restore. Better to cut your losses and walk away than to keep holding on to something that's already dead. My advice: trust your instincts. When red flags raise, pay attention. Because if someone crosses that line, no apology can fully fix what's been shattered. Sometimes the best revenge is walking away and reclaiming your own peace. That's how I did it, and honestly, I've never felt freer.